ready for us?
Hold on. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, gents. Welcome to U.S. Military Veteran Suicide Prevention Podcast. Today is October 1st, 10 a.m. 2022, and we have two broke vets with us, and they are going to perform for veteran suicide right now. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us. All right, so this is a song I wrote. It's called Don't Want to Talk About It.
My mind keeps on wandering. Seems like I'm stuck in some old memory. Every time I lay my head down at night, my past just keeps on haunting me. No, I don't wanna talk about it. Why can't you just leave it alone? You don't want to get in this head. You don't want to know where it's gone. No, I don't want to talk about it. I'd rather sit here till this bottle's gone. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. Well, I don't need to collect no check. So many people out there that's worse off than me. See, why don't I just talk about it? I don't need to talk to no shrink. No, I don't wanna talk about it. Why can't you just leave it alone? You don't want to get in this head. You don't want to know where it's going. No, I don't want to talk about it. I'd rather sit here till this bottle's gone. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. I see these signs says, feed me, I'm homeless. They always held by some good old vet. They served the country, but now they're messed up. And people like them don't even seem to care. Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. What's going on with this country? All those people on Capitol Hill spending our money on other things. What about those Vietnam vets? All those soldiers from Afghanistan? Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. I wonder who's gonna listen now. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. What's going on with this country? All those people on Capitol Hill spending our money on other things. What about those Vietnam vets? All those soldiers from Afghanistan? Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. I wonder who's gonna listen now. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da.
Great job, guys.
Wow.
Not entirely a happy song, but I guess a song that comes from your heart. So that sounds really good. Thanks, guys.
Well, that's a song I wrote, dealing with PTSD when I got back from deployment.
Yeah.
My outlet's, music. So.
And that's it? That's your only outlet?
No, I have a couple of other things. I like to build stuff. So.
Yeah. Let me guess. You don't want to talk about it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I figured. I heard it quite a few times in the song. So how about I don't even ask? But it's interesting though, just because, I mean, it's obviously the primary and the first song, and here we are legitimately wanting to talk about it, right? And you're saying that you don't want to talk about it. And I guess you can kind of see it in two ways. You can kind of see it, you're strong enough to deal with it on your own, or you're here in front of 7 people that, I mean, I'm here on a Saturday morning, and if it's all I got to do is listening to whatever you have to deal with, I'm kind of okay with that. I don't know what this podcast is about. Well, I do know, I do know, but I don't know how it's not focused, but I don't know the protocol. How about that? I don't know about the protocol. So Rob, please advise me. Tell me how this goes.
No, JC, man, we're all co-hosts here. All of us on here, we kind of just pass the mic around and share whatever we want to talk about. So, yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for the for Two Broke Vets to join us today. It's a pleasure for you, JC, to join us, and I really that song was from the heart right there. You guys really impressed me with that music right there. We're gonna have to get a copy of you guys' CD. How many songs do you guys have?
About 14 to 20. Yeah. So it varies all over the place. Like I said, that one I wrote probably 8 years ago. And, just going out, I play at a lot of VFWs, VA hospitals, donate my time doing that. So I do play that song a lot for some veterans that might be going through some stuff. And it's basically to let them know, hey, you're not really the only one. So it's it is a story. And then, when you're ready to talk about it, which is the last verse, there's some things that just trigger you when you're ready to talk. So. No,
yeah. Okay. Maybe I didn't hear that part. I just heard all the really depressing stuff. It was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Your voice is awesome and you guys are in tune. But I guess all I heard was kind of like the depressing stuff. And in a dark world, I think it's kind of vital for you guys to kind of, I guess that's how you kind of relate to your listeners, right? It's like you can relate through like the darkness, but ultimately there has to be some kind of light, right? Like overwhelming amount of light, not all dark. Because I mean, it could be very easy for somebody to listen to that song and be like, all right, fuck it, I'm not gonna talk about it. Excuse my language. But that's kind of how it is. And I think the main reason that I actually wanted to come in this podcast is because it was military based. And I think usually when I speak about depression or anxiety, I speak in the outside world, in the secular, well, not secular world, but we are in the secular world, even here. We tiptoe around what may actually hurt someone's feelings, and you don't know how they're gonna take it. And I was actually really hoping that in this environment when we're talking about combat veterans or whatever the case is, whether you're special operations or now special operations, whether you were a grunt or you worked on generators your entire career, I don't care. The whole point of it is that I hope that I can speak. If I do hurt somebody's feelings, I do hope that you can just stand up and be like, hey, how about this? You know what I mean? Like, hey, so I don't want to tiptoe around you guys. I really don't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on this podcast. And if I see something that, and I may be wrong, I'm a human just like you guys. So if I see that you are potentially doing harm to yourself, I'm going to call that out. And I know that song was written out probably 8 years ago, and you had that outlet, which is what you mentioned. I don't even get your name. I'm not going to call you Two Broke Vet One, Two Broke.
I do apologize. Sorry. My name is Terrence. Actually, my other broke vet is Greg. He wasn't able to make it. He's not feeling well.
Yeah.
This is my civilian friend, Corey. He plays with us all over the place.
Very cool.
And I do appreciate your feedback on that song.
Yeah, dude, for sure, man.
Like you said, I never would actually think how someone else would actually take it, because everybody I sung it for was always a different feedback. So I actually appreciate that.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And the thing is that I actually kind of enjoy this song. Like, your voice is really nice. And this is something that I'm kind of coming along now. I'm writing a book, and usually I would write with a very not even write, because I wasn't much of a writer, whether my childhood or middle adulthood or even now that I'm 34. But through my experience of what I had with the Alligator situation, which I don't know if you know about it, there was quite a lot of people that came up to me and told me that I was aspiring. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't talk to these dudes like I would talk to people on team. You know what I mean? I can't tell them it was like, oh, no big deal. It was just a gator. I just wrestled it, blah, 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 and just shoot the shit that way. I have to kind of talk to them in a way that they would understand that this big struggle of mine is no more or less than the struggle that they're going through, right? Because I thank God every single day that I don't deal with depression or anxiety, all right? Now, during this incident, there was really small moments that they were really overwhelming, like super overwhelming. Like I've never had a panic attack, or I never even came close to. I've always just treated people that were getting ready to go into a panic attack. And I actually had the symptoms, meaning kind of like the I don't know if you guys have had a panic attack, but I'm sure you've heard it or seen somebody that has had it. And
yeah, JC, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into a real deep conversation here soon about Two Broke Vets and their music. But I want everybody to for everybody watching, I want everybody to introduce themselves so everybody can get familiar with who's on the podcast with us today. So if we could kind of just, I guess, Red Fox, you kick it off, and then we'll kind of just pass it around from there. And everybody can introduce themselves, tell a little intro.
I got you. I'm Red Fox. I'm with Iron Legacy Motorcycle Club. I'm not a military person. I have never been in the military. I have experienced suicide on a personal level with quite a few friends. I work retail management. I am here, always have an ear open for anybody.
thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Red Fox.
Who's next?
Junner, you want to go next?
Yeah, right. I'll pick up the stick. I'm Junner. I'm president of LAWFUL Motorcycle Club. We are originated and based in Belgium. Myself, I'm currently working as a customs officer. I have about 13 years of correctional officer on my belt. So I worked from 2007 till 2019 as a correctional officer. Unfortunately, I both in my personal life as on the job with the inmates and colleagues, I experienced a few times suicides, being in a depression and a burnout from the work also. So never been in the military, bit too young to be in the military, but I got unfortunately some experience on a few of the fields we are discussing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it, brother. We appreciate you coming on today. Absolutely.
With pleasure.
And Miss Angel, is it Angel, right?
Yes, sir. I'm Angel
Can you
Orsini.
let everybody?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Yeah.
All right. So I'm Angel Orsini. I'm a ECW original wrestler, and I've been in professional wrestling for it'll be 26 years this month, October. And in wrestling, we have experienced a lot of suicide. I've lost a lot of friends from suicide, and in part that has inspired me to start a life coaching, health and wellness coaching business with my best friend called Elevated Living, and we tackle anxiety and depression, and we developed a curriculum to help people take back control over their lives, and that's what I'm living for right now, trying to make a difference in the world and be a light shining through that darkness. I have my own personal experience. When I was a teenager, I was attacked by a serial murderer, and I had to fight for my life. And I survived, obviously, but I had severe PTSD. And it was hard to dig my way out of that pit of darkness. And I fully understand the song, the Two Broke Vets saying, you don't want to talk about it, but the best thing you can do is talk about it, because as soon as you start talking about it, the light floods in and you get set free. I mean, it's not something that happens all at once. It's like levels, but I'm so grateful to be on the show and share my experience and contribute anything I can to this situation, to the conversation, to help other people.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you, Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel.
You're welcome.
Michael, can you let everybody know who you are, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do this quick. So first, I'm in Ukraine right now. So my signal keeps dropping because it's shit here, right? I've been volunteering in Ukraine since March. Basically, I teach combat tactics and.
Oh.
Dang, that's awesome.
That's indeed big fact.
Yeah, I think he'll try to. I think he'll be back on in a minute. He's trying to. I guess they don't have good service. Good.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that they would have great service right now. Let's be real.
Hold on. I think here he is.
I got a bit of experience with the whole coverage level in Ukraine. Me myself, we had 3 trips over there, helping people bringing stuff over there to help the people with all the medical stuff and the supplies. And he's back. I'm going to leave the word to talking to him.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, sorry. So anyway, basically, I've been here since March, teaching soldiers how to do shit, getting them medical gear like tourniquets and crap like that, and moving supplies to the front lines, as well as
Dang.
Yeah, Junner, you were saying you were helping out with some Ukraine people.
Yeah. In the beginning of the war, we together with the club and a few other civilians, we set up a bit of a little help recruit system to get stuff to us, like supplies. He's back. I'm going to leave it back then. So Michael, go.
Yeah, sorry. But
problem.
so anyway, yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing in Ukraine, right? I've got a book coming out called Life's Memorable Moments. It's actually available for pre-sales right now. It's not war, right? It's just a bunch of short, funny stories meant to make people laugh, because everybody's forgotten how to fucking laugh, right?
Yeah, that's what's up. Oh, that's so true. What was the name of that book? Did anybody catch that?
No. Maybe we can repeat it when he comes back, so it sounds quite interesting.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
In short,
surprised that we heard him we saw him for as long. I didn't expect him to have any kind of service.
No, it's really bad over there on the border where we went. Where also the service is when you come too close to the border, it's gone. It's all blocked. So, but in short, we put up something to bring supplies and bring people back to Belgium to safety. So that's the short story of what.
Dang, that's awesome. Mike, hurry up! Explain yourself.
The name of the book.
Hey man, I'm trying. I got a lot of shit going on. So anyway, yeah, the book's Life's Memorable Moments. It's funny stories. Y'all can check it out. Whatever.
Did you catch what he said the name of the book was?
I didn't catch it, man.
It sounded like memorable moments.
We're gonna have to wait to see the movie, huh?
It was Life's Memorable Moments.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Y'all go ahead and just save me for the end.
All right, perfect.
Everybody's writing the name of the book down right now.
He said Life's Memorable Moments.
That's the book.
Yeah, y'all go ahead and just save me for the end, because this is aggravating.
Okay, guys, we're gonna go back and let Two Broke Vets play another song, and we can enjoy some music for a moment while we all get our thoughts together. Here we go. Two Broke Vets from New Jersey.
All right, we're gonna try to do something a little fun and funny for this one. So this is a song I wrote about just a whole bunch of friends playing. We used to play games back in the day when we were kids, and you know, once you guys start drinking, you realize you start playing those games again. So it's called "Blame It on Ray."
Back in the day, we played games like Truth or Dare. I've been running down the street in nothing but my underwear. Mama said, why'd you do it? We swear it's not our fault because Ray made us do it. When I get no younger, when I feel no older, no, cause we still play those same old games, we just blame it on the alcohol. Please spin the bottle over at Corey's house. And I swear that he cheated, he was the only one that was making out. When the lights came on, his mom said, what's going on? We swear it's not our fault because Ray made us do it. When I get no younger, when I feel no older, no, cause we still play those same old games, we just blame it on the alcohol. One night at Greg's, he said, I got a game we can play. He pulled out a bottle of Jack, pocket full of quarters. We got sick that night with alcohol poison. When I get no younger, when I'm feeling no older, no, we still play those same old games, we just blame it on the alcohol. I said we still play those same old games, we just blame it on the alcohol.
Good job, guys. Good work.
Nice.
Wow, amazing. Michael, you want to sing for us? Can you sing?
Hell no, I can't sing.
You know,
I don't even sing in the shower, dude.
Hey, Mike, what was your, what you said you weren't in the military, right? So what's your background and why is it that you're
No,
able to?
No, I was in the Army. I was in the Army from 2007 to 2014. I served in Iraq and in Afghanistan.
As a what?
As a infantryman, right? Kicking indoors in Iraq and shooting over mountains, right? So.
Gotcha. Okay. So dirt medicine pretty much was his thing, and that's what he's teaching. That's awesome.
oh, nice. So what's your story, Rev 5?
Honestly, my story is.
How's the weather?
Come again?
Oh, how's the weather? Are you in Hurricane Alley?
Oh, the weather. Okay. Yeah, we were actually slated to get that hurricane to hit right through where I'm at. Fortunately, it stayed to the coast and kept going up. We did get the wind, the rain, so I had to come out and remove all the tarps and everything else to make sure my animals were out today. Other than some leaves from the oak tree and some standing water, it's all good here.
Yeah, absolutely.
The storm is making its way up here. I'm in New Jersey, and we're experiencing all the high water and the crazy wind and pouring rain. I think it started like 11 o'clock last night, the first band coming through.
Yeah, it shouldn't be much of anything by the time it gets up there. It's barely anything that was here yesterday.
Yeah, it is the hurricane. It is hurricane season. Whew. I'm glad I'm not over on the East Coast right this time of the year. That thing's barreling all the way through Florida, all the way up to the Carolinas, into New Jersey. Hey, where at in New Jersey are you?
I'm on Barnegat Bay. I'm right in between Island Beach State Park and Seaside Heights and Long Beach Island. I think you can see the water in the background.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull you up real fast. Hold on, we're gonna get a. Yeah, I can see the water. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the storm surge. It's been it's actually a little bit lower now. It was pretty intense last night.
Okay, yeah, there you are, and we can see you now. Yeah, I can see. Wow, yeah, I can see the water right there. So, tell us about you. So you're like a pro wrestler. You got a lot going on, huh? When was your last fight? When's your next fight? What do you tell? Fill us in.
Sure. I'm actually wrestling tonight in Hillburn, New York. I'm current women's world champion for Funhouse Championship Wrestling. I'll be defending this belt in 2 weeks, October 15th at in Bayville.
Right.
Yeah, Bayville, New Jersey, at the Elks Lodge there. And going to be awesome. It's going to be intense. And I got into martial arts and wrestling as a way to help me through my PTSD and help me take control back of my life and overcome anxiety, depression. And I've never looked back since. And it's been a really amazing journey. And I'm trying to take everything that I learned from my walk and share that knowledge to empower other people to overcome their anxiety, depression, and live the life that they dream about living and make their dreams reality.
Nice. Yeah,
it's not easy, you know, and a lot of us really what we need is support. And because when we get depressed or we have panic attacks and severe anxiety, a lot of that comes from a place of feeling like we're all alone. And but that's not true. What we have to do is we have to learn to let our walls down and let people in, because the people that are around us, our friends and our family, they love us and they just want to love on us. And that love is what's going to empower us through the times of darkness. I don't know if that makes sense for anybody else here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all had our dark days when the light wasn't shining. We had nowhere to turn and no one to go to, you know, and we looked over that edge in life and wanted to jump, you know, but we didn't because something either was pulling us back or it was God or something stopped us from going that next step in life. And, you know, I think with us coming together like this, it's going to give everybody a chance to talk about their mental status and how they feel. And so maybe they can reach for help and get help before it's too late. Because I'm sure everybody here has lost somebody to suicide or knows somebody who committed suicide. So,
yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, I think about Daphne, the Scream Queen. That's left a hole in my heart every time I think about her. But there's so many other wrestlers that gave up, that gave in, they stopped fighting. And the thing is that no matter how hard it gets, it's better to stay in the fight and keep fighting and keep swinging. Don't give up, because that next moment you can feel different.
pain is temporary. That's what people don't understand. You know, anything you're going through is temporary. The pain will go away eventually. You have to just make it through that pain. And every day is a new day. So, you know, anybody going through some stuff, get help, seek treatment, professional treatment through, you know, a psychologist, a mental institution, a hospital, get rest and get ready to start a new day. You know, whether it's a day, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, however long it takes you to get through your mental illness or your sickness until you get well, until you get better. If you have to take medications, take medications. If you have to go to counseling, go to your counseling. And don't be, I do counseling. I've got medication. I've had to see mental health doctors. I still see mental health doctors. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not less of a person because I've had to ask for help. If I wouldn't have asked for help, you know, thank God I had a good support group. And I today, you know, seeking counseling and stuff like that. But, the pain will go away. It will get easier.
What I, as a bit of an outsider, have noticed, this is not the first time that I talked with you guys from across the pond with the whole suicide and awareness and the PTSD and the veterans combating the problems from the stuff they saw overseas in combat situations, is that within your own communities of former military and veterans, you found quite a good way to come together and start things up yourself, besides of the things the government for you provides. Within Belgium, that is something that we lack a little bit. Is that for us, it's not that easy to, if you are suffering with things like anxiety or stress or the whole PTSD or the depression, the burnouts, you get quite quickly sent to a professional that has a waiting list that goes on for months and months and months on end before you can get help. My experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you are better equipped with people of volunteers who help one another besides all the stuff that professionals do. That's a feeling that I have. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the hardest thing to do is ask for help. And not only that, but, you know, when you're really truly down and out, who's around you? You know, who's going to notice that you're at that point? And so, you know, your life is in your own hands. You know, at the end of the day, your life is in the hands of the people you're around. You know, so hopefully you have a good support group. If you're not in a good support group, you need to find a good support group of people who care for you, about you, and can help notice the signs before you get to the point you want to commit suicide. And, you know, when it happens, it happens. You know, I mean, and I've heard of it. When it happens, and there was no signs. People didn't see the signs. So really, we just need to come together a little more and friends or family out there who might be going through something. You know, one, if they lost their job. Two, you know, if they're going through a bad relationship and they lost their wife or their kids, that could be a reason. Maybe they're having some kind of other troubles, or maybe alcohol or something. If you see somebody you know going through something like that, a struggle in life, that might be a sign. So anybody watching, if you know anybody who's struggling right now with something, talk to them. Pull them to the side. It doesn't have to be in front of everybody, but pull them to the side and say, hey, you know, how are you feeling today? Are you having any mental health issues? Is there, you know, do you need medications? Do you need to see a doctor? And if it doesn't add up and you're like, no, I think you do. You know, I think you do because, you know, take them to get help. Take them to the hospital. Take them to the ER emergency room. The emergency room has 24-hour service for anybody who's suicidal. You drop them off at the ER and they'll check them into a room for suicide patients. A minimum of 3 days, which is 72 hours. They'll put a 72-hour hold on you. Until suicide after 72 hours, then they'll keep you in there longer. You know, it could be 30 days, 6 months, a year, however long it takes for you not to feel suicidal. They'll hold somebody in there. And that is the best thing you can do for somebody you care about, is get them checked in and get help. Because if you don't and you leave them in the streets, guess what? They don't get the help they need. So any local hospital, I think that's anywhere in the world, they have a mental health hospital.
Are there VA programs that people can reach out to? Are there any kind of like private nonprofits that support veterans?
Yeah, well, the VA is amazing. They have people on duty that will check you in. The minute you go in there, before you even finish the word suicide, if you get halfway through saying it, you're already checked in. They got the door locked. Yeah, they don't mess around. The VA police are coming in. They're stripping you down naked. And it's gonna be like you were going to jail. They're gonna give you some clothes to wear, and you're going up to the 7th floor, and you know, into a facility, an area. But it's a safe environment. You're not gonna be able to hurt yourself. They're going to medicate you. And that's only if you're suicidal. They have another program if you're going through some kind of substance abuse, you know, and alcohol abuse. They can get you in the program and stuff. So, yeah, the VA is wonderful. Now, is there other programs out there? Yeah, I think there is other programs out there, but if you're a military veteran and you're connected with the VA, I would just go to the VA. But there are some other programs out there. There are some other people doing some stuff for some suicidal veterans and stuff. But I don't have a lot of information on that right now. What organizations and stuff? I know a guy who was on the show last week. He's out of Milwaukee and he runs a homeless shelter for veterans. So and they're doing like mental health counseling, but that's like an outpatient. So anybody watching, if they need outpatient mental health, homeless, there's a guy in Milwaukee. If you're not in Milwaukee, maybe we can get you a ride to Milwaukee or a bus ticket out there. If you're a homeless veteran, we can get you, you know, a free cot and some mental health counseling and stuff.
Angel, I think to answer your question, it's much easier for a veteran to seek for help than a civilian. Mostly because we're dealing with 1% of the population, and these people, in a sense, see lots of trauma. So they're kind of expected, in a sense, to get some kind of PTSD, anxiety, or depression. Like theirs is more severe. It's more in your face, right? But the world, well, don't get me wrong, whether it's firefighters or police, I do a lot of stuff, and I've been dealing with, I'm a dirt tactician and pretty much an entrepreneur public servant. And that's kind of what I've been all my adult life. And I've dealt with anywhere from the basic Baker Act, which I don't know if you guys know what Baker Acts are, all the way to special warfare as a PJ in the Air Force. And now kind of what I said, which is an entrepreneur public servant. And I run a company called Defeat X. So to answer your question, I think it's much easier for a veteran, like anytime that you call for anything, the first question they usually ask is like something along these lines, don't quote me, but if you feel like harming yourself, press this number. Like, it doesn't even matter if you're calling your dentist, like it'll immediately allow you to go ahead and press a number and you go and talk to somebody. I have never pressed it because I've never felt suicidal. I'm not bragging about that in any shape, way, or form, but I know I hear it constantly because I have to wait until that message literally ends in order to do what I have to do. So, but I never hear that when I call like my actual dentist, or if I call like my primary care physician when I use my insurance. I never hear that. And it's funny because we constantly always just talk about veterans, right? Veterans have this, veterans have that. And don't get me wrong, they do. But I don't think that we're any more or less screwed up than the rest of the world.
Yeah. The world is pretty screwed up.
Yeah. And the thing is that what you were mentioning is that in a sense of community, right? The sense of community where we can kind of help each other. But in a sense, it's humans helping humans. Like, I never heard anybody talk about God here or anything like that. And I don't want to, go over the line here. But ultimately, if something is that heavy, how about you look to a higher power, whatever that means to you, whatever it is to you. And I know that, Rob, you're a Christian, or say very loudly in your profile that you are. And I wanted to come in here and kind of have the freedom to talk, not so much about religion, because whatever, religion's up to you, but spirituality and kind of what is your to go to, your HP, whether it's your higher priest or your higher power, whatever it is that you want to call it. All right. But let's call it, because if you're going to go ahead and talk to a human, that human is going to go ahead and have its own problems. And then you're going to go ahead and rely on a system. You're going to go ahead and go to a hospital and you're going to talk to this. And don't get me wrong. That's good. It's good because, for one, I think even in the AA manual, I have a funny story about AA. I'm not a drinker, but I'm a pretty adventurous dude. And I have a really good friend of mine who is dealing with alcohol. And I have another friend dealing with all sorts of stuff. And it's the world, man. Whatever addiction you have, some people say that it's a healthy addiction. And then for some reason, some are not. Like, I think my addiction previously to this was endurance sports. Like, I would spend as much time, if not more, than work. And some people would say, well, that's a healthy sport. Is it? Is it a healthy sport? What's the balance here? As soon as I stop having a relationship with my wife and forget about my family and do this, and then I'm doing that more than my actual job, everything else, then when does it become a bad habit? Or when does it become a bad addiction? You know what I mean? So thank God it wasn't like I wasn't destroying my family by doing endurance sports, but I hope you know what I'm saying. So it's interesting that everybody here wants to talk about a community and wants to go ahead and me as just this regular dude that got bit by an alligator on his face can go ahead and tell you, hey man, hey broke vets, go out there and stop thinking about suicide. It's like, bro, are you going to stop thinking about suicide? No, you're not going to stop thinking about suicide. You're not going to be any less depressed. You're not, or maybe for the day you're going to feel pretty good. But I bet you tomorrow you're going to wake up in the dark world and you're going to be like, oh, this shit sucks. It's a bad day. It's a bad day. It's like, yeah, it is a bad day. So you could put forth an effort and seek and you should find. And I have a pretty good book for all of you guys. I mean, it's pretty challenging for sure to start reading it 100%. It's very challenging words in there, but it's literally the instructions to life. So as most of us, when we get instructions to even building even building a drawer, we don't want to read the instructions because it's complicated. We want to do it our own way. We really do. We're like, forget it. Screwdriver, I can do it with a knife. It sucks to use this cable. I can go away with using this other cable. We want to do it our own way. We want to do it our own way. And we fail 100% of the time. That drawer will fall down. It will catch on flames at worst case scenario. Actually, worst case scenario, we die because we literally didn't put a chair together correctly. I hope I'm making sense here. But there's literally an instruction manual for life. It is very complicated, and you can go ahead and see different sources. And that book is called the Bible. It's hard to hear. I get it. You've probably been looking at that book for, I don't know. I looked at it for like 33 years, and I looked at it. I'm like, all right, this is complicated. I can't get through the first book. I don't know if you guys have even tried going through Genesis, but it's hard. It's a hard book to swallow. Okay. So if you really want to, how about looking through YouTube, looking at a couple of different channels, looking at different perspectives. Dude, I've taken classes on Genesis because I was so interested, because that's literally the beginning of us. Is the beginning of us. And that might get too deep for you guys, because sometimes you really do need to have not just an open mind, because an open mind, us as open mind, meaning we can just take all sorts of direction. And most of the direction is going to come from the dark world that you talk about, Angel. Most of the stuff, little by little, especially even watching TV or the radio or any of that, like you don't even notice how much darkness is coming into your head just by the world. And that's kind of why it was cool with Genesis, because we're talking about Adam and Eve, the very beginning. I'm pretty sure all you guys know about Adam and Eve. And maybe if you don't, basically it was just these two humans that got kicked out of what essentially is heaven, right? So now, very, very simply put, we are in the dark world. And that dark world is run by the darkness. Okay, so everything that we receive here, we are our own light, and we receive that through our Lord and Savior. I know I'm getting deep here, and I don't want to lose anybody. But in a sense, read. It's hard, whatever. Put forth the effort. Like, I'm not here to sugarcoat shit. Okay? Read. Learn. Get into it. If you don't get it, ask. It's literally an instruction manual, and I promise you that your life would get easier. That's my whole spiel.
Yeah, I think that's good. I've read the Bible 5 times cover to cover. I've been studying the Bible since 1997, and I'm saved and filled with the Holy Ghost, tongue talking, revelatory Christian.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
So what book did you find? Did you find it really challenging in the beginning?
Well, I started in the New Testament.
Why?
And I started in John because I wanted to know what Jesus said, because I believe that Jesus is the Messiah.
No,
So
totally. 100%.
So if I don't understand what Jesus is saying, and I won't understand the Bible. Because
Yeah. No, totally. And I get that. No, 100%. And that's such a cool, thank you for saying that, because honestly, a lot of people do that. And the thing is that the reason that I'm getting in the Old Testament, because a lot of people see it as irrelevant. And I don't blame them. I really don't even blame them, because like, if you don't go in it with a full loving heart, which it's very difficult to have in this world, everything that is in the Old Testament is a bunch of craziness. It's like, wait a second, I'm supposed to kill this lamb, and then if I don't have enough money, then I have to get a dove, and then I'm gonna have to cut its wings a certain way, and then splatter the blood in four corners. It's like, wait a second. The whole beautiful thing about that is that if you literally like learn more about the Old Testament, the reason that it was written, especially like Leviticus and outside of Exodus, was because it was literally God's message to tell us that it is that serious. It's that serious. And back then, 2,000 years ago, they were just learning, and there was no Jesus at the time. So there was no Messiah. Okay, the Old Testament is literally previous to, and even in the Old Testament, they were talking about it. The Son of Man, the Lamb of God, all of those things were going to happen. But for Moses, for Aaron, for the Levites, all those people, this is exactly what they had to do, and they messed it up. Just like even when Jesus was literally on earth, people were messing it up then too. Even the apostles that saw him do a bunch of really cool stuff, all of a sudden they just kind of like, I guess I saw him heal. I guess I saw him do this. Like, it's just us in our nature. But I mean, good for you, Angel, that you kind of have him in your heart and know like our actual key to get there. Yeah.
Amen.
And we're gonna have two broke bets up for a song, for a little intermission. Are you guys ready?
We're good.
Okay, here we go. Amen, JC. We appreciate you, brother. God is good.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I remember the days we used to drive around this town. We were young, we were dumb, we were full of fun. We were jokers on the run, setting the night on fire until the police came. You threw me right under the bus just to clear your name. Here we go again. Here we go again. You see the high school memories, yeah, they were made to last. I really don't remember much, just knocking down that wall in class, playing Days of Thunder till the police came. Principal's office.
I'm sorry, guys. I messed that one up. I'll try that one.
You already.
See the high school memories, yeah, they were made to last. I really don't remember much, just knocking down that wall in class, plaguing days of thunder, running down the halls, sitting in the principal's office till they gave our mother a call. But here we go again. Here we go again. If I can do it over, you know I'll do it the same. 'Cause every memory with you was always worth the blame. Set the night on fire until the police came. Threw me right under the bus just to clear your name. But here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go again.
Wow, amazing. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Two Broke Vets. Check them out.
Michael's back too.
Not for long.
Yeah, I switched to a different device. Maybe I'll stick around longer.
Awesome.
I think Putin, bro, as soon as you say anything, he just cuts the line, bro.
Pretty much, right? Yeah. I'm 4 hours south of Kiev, so I'm, whatever. So.
Dude, what a stud. That's awesome, man. Good on you, man. God bless you, bro.
Oh, hey, man. Like it's a, originally my intent was only to be here till May.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, and then I got to teaching and training, and I realized that these people, they don't know anything. They literally don't know
anything.
They know day zero. They don't even know day zero stuff, right?
100%.
A lot of these guys have never held a weapon, so I have to start from this is the pointy end, right? This end towards the enemy, right? So
the mission with us, we were always helping the Polish. That was kind of our mission when I was in England. We were helping, but Ukraine was so far away, and I think it was a what do they call it? It was not within the interest of the military. I think it would ruffle a lot of feathers if we were helping them.
Well, yeah, because Poland is part of the EU, right? And Ukraine wasn't.
Right.
So then you really you're really stepping on everybody's toes, and it's very eye-opening being over here, right? First of all, it's crazy because everybody expected Russia just to steamroll Ukraine.
Not today.
And, yeah, right. And so the fact that, in my opinion, the fact that Putin's having to force 300,000 more, literally force them into service, just says that he bit off more than he can chew, right?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, that's a good thing, because that shows that the Ukrainian military is doing better than when I first arrived, right?
Yeah, dude. But don't you think that it's almost just a matter of time type situation?
That depends, right? It depends on how far Putin's willing to go,
right?
Dude, how
And
far do you think he's gonna go? He's basically a cornered rat, and that dude is not a cornered
I
rat.
have,
He's a
I have
smart,
no
evil
idea.
dude.
Yeah, I have no idea. Man. Like it's like but I can't sit there and worry about what a crazy man's going to do, right? I've got to teach these guys to fight until the end, right?
Yeah, stay in your
And,
lane. Yeah, absolutely, dude.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
Damn, dude, that's awesome,
And
man.
so, yeah. I mean, and that's another thing, right? Is trying to get these people in that soldier mentality because they're literally going from civilian to soldier overnight. And
are you dealing with just men?
No, absolutely not. Anybody who wants to train, I teach. Right? Like right now, I'm working on standing up a Minuteman force. Right? Where like they're basically civilians, and all walks of life, old, young.
Are you on contract there, or are you literally just? Okay.
I am here on my own. Like I have been paying my own way since I got here. So
who's there with you? Like old teammates, or who's there with you?
No, man, no, just me.
No way.
I originally came over here with a group of former soldiers, none of which I actually knew. Right, like we were part of a veterans network system of veteran entrepreneurs, essentially, and I get a freaking phone call from a guy. He's like, "Hey, I'm putting a team together to go to Ukraine." Russia invaded Ukraine on the 24th.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, why not? March 13th, I was in Ukraine. So, I mean, it moved pretty fast, right? And now everybody that I came over with has left and gone back to the States because the organization they were trying to start collapsed.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's because they didn't come over here with a practical plan, right? Like no one knew what they were walking into, and they had these great ambitions of I'm former Army, I'm going to win this thing. And
psych.
yeah, exactly. And so, and when that collapsed in their face, they were like, "Oh, well, I'm going back to the United States." I'm like, going, "What? There's still a lot we can do." I mean,
yeah, you haven't done anything, dude. You have to, essentially what you're there to do is pretty much make them feel like someone actually has their back.
Exactly.
I mean, not only that, you're definitely teaching like very quality stuff. That's awesome.
Right.
Man.
Well,
That's
I mean,
so cool.
basically, I'm teaching basic infantry tactics, right? It's what every Joe Smo that goes into infantry, whether it be Marine or Army, learns, right?
Basic military shit.
Right, exactly, right? Yeah. And like I just got through teaching today. That's the reason why like I started out with a bunch of F-bombs, because I've been yelling at soldiers for the majority of the day.
Yeah.
And so like the thing is that I originally started by teaching combat lifesaving, right? Like teaching them first aid, how to keep their guys alive, right? Because like any war, the secret to success is the more people you keep alive, the better your odds are of winning, right?
Yeah, that's basic math right there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so what is it? So that's where I started, and then when I realized like these guys have absolutely no tactical awareness whatsoever, I'm like going,
no, dude. No.
Now
you're essentially teaching a bunch of millennials how to fight for their lives.
Right. Yeah. And actually, they're easier to teach than I think millennials would be, at least in the United States, right? Because they're faced with a real threat, right? Like this is a tangible threat that they can see, right? Yeah. And so like it's especially the guys that are already contracted to go, they're just waiting on the call, right? Yeah. That's another reason why I kind of broke away from teaching big Army in Ukraine to teaching local civilian guys, because what would happen
is that I would get 3, maybe 4 days, maybe a week to train a set of dudes, and then over the weekend they would deploy with 4 days worth of training. And I'm like going, well, that sucks. You know, like I mean, I hate to call them cannon fodder, but that's pretty much what they are, you know?
Yeah.
And,
Well, I mean, that's exactly what they are. Yeah, for sure. So you kind of have to give them that. But I'm wondering though, like in a sense right now, Russia's kind of doing the same thing.
absolutely. And this is so this is a thing, right? This is the point that I was able to make to like all the commanders that I've been talking to since I've been here, right? The first thing I had to do in the first 3 months I was here was setting up a network of logistics, right? That's how you win a war, right? But the thing is that I got to telling the commanders, go, look, Russia has you beat in resources, whether it be ammunition, weapons, whatever. They've got you beat there. The only way to overcome that is with tactics and training.
That's it.
Now,
yeah.
Luckily, Russia, because Putin surrounds himself with yes men, right, is still relying on Soviet-era tactics, right? So he hasn't evolved from the 80s, right? Whereas America's had to evolve because we've been in, like, everywhere is the front, right? Like, we're surrounded by the enemy. So we had to evolve our tactics.
Right.
So now I'm taking those same tactics, the American infantry tactics, and teaching these guys, like small unit ambushes and stuff like that, to where, so that when Putin comes at them in a freaking rank and file, we just swarm the shit out of them, hit them hard, and then break contact, right?
Right. Do you have what are you using to kind of just your word? Do you have any books? And obviously they all read English and can hear English.
No, hell no, no. That's not. So that's another big problem, right?
Oh,
like,
no.
like nobody speaks English. For a lot of these guys,
dude. That's awesome.
For a lot of these guys, I'm the first American they've ever seen, right? And so they don't. So basically, I have an interpreter that's like, there's one, maybe two people that speak English, right? And I use this interpreter using the simplest English that I can, right, to explain what I need them to do. And then I use airsoft. If there's not enough real weapons to go around, I use airsoft weapons to get them used to manipulating a weapon, bringing that weapon up and back down, and bringing it up, moving that selector switch from safe to semi, flipping it back and bringing it back down, right? And that's where I start, just doing that. I'll spend 2 hours just doing ready up drills, right?
Well, I mean, that's exactly what basic boot camp was also. Like, some of these fools needed to get taught that. So
absolutely. And that's what I'm having to do here. Like, and the funny thing is they get aggravated, right? Because they want to jump to the fun stuff like room clearing, right? Because everybody's watched too much Call of Duty and crap, right?
Yeah, that's how they shoot themselves in the face.
Exactly, where you shoot your buddy in the back, right? So, so I'm having to take them through that and get them used to like moving and shooting, right? That's another thing where like airsoft comes in great, because they can sit there and move with fake weapons or with weapons, whatever else, and pull the trigger and pretend. But once I put that airsoft in them, I give them targets and have them engage those targets while they're moving. They realize they're not hitting shit, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically it's everything. I'm having to teach them everything and trying to compress it in as little time as possible so I can move on to the next group, right? And dude, I'm also having to talk about higher ups with logistics, like getting guys on the front resupplies, right? Because that's another thing where Putin fails. Putin fails in his own logistics, right? So they have to be better at getting the guys beans, bullets, and band-aids, right? And so by making sure they stay supplied with food, and especially like tourniquets and gauze and whatever else, and bullets and stuff. Like that's another thing, because the front move from coming from when Putin realized that he wasn't going to be able to take Kiev from the north, he had to reorganize at the south and come and try to push up through Odessa.
Yeah.
And he's not doing very well, but whatever. So with that, he screwed up his own logistics, and we in Ukraine had to change their logistics, right? Move the front, right? So it's keeping those sort of things organized too.
Mike, when have you set a date on when you're coming back home, or is it just you have a family? Like, what's the deal here? Did you just go your own deployment? You just went your own deployment and said, "Screw it, I'm never coming back until Putin's dead."
Basically, well, I mean, like I said, originally my date was I don't come back in May, right? Like going, okay, I'm gonna give myself till May. Yeah. But I don't have a wife, I don't have kids. I mean, I'm whatever. So like when everybody else bailed, I felt like I looked at the guys that we have been teaching, like going, I'm not going to abandon these students, right? Like they're looking at me like I'm their dad, right? I'm like going, I'm not abandoning these dudes. Like as long as there's a place for me to teach, I'll stay here and teach. I'm not going to fight it for them. Like I'm not picking up.
You can't.
Right, absolutely.
You can't.
Right, absolutely.
No.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No.
And like
not only is it kind of like you really can't. You're too much of an asset to lose. It's done.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah. I'm not the only one here doing this, right? There's other guys in other parts of Ukraine doing the same thing I am. And
all voluntary, all without anybody giving any kind of contract money.
I'm not going to say that. I think some of the guys are getting paid, right? Like, whatever. I don't know who's paying them, but whatever.
Well, so okay. Oh, that's really interesting, dude. Bro, how do you get supplies? Like, if somebody wants to send you supplies, how does that work, dude? Because I'm assuming that right now sending anything to Ukraine is damn near impossible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, so I am in with a group that there's some former veterans that I served in Iraq with. It's this organization called Global Progress Initiative, right? I think I gave Rob a link to the organization, and they help move things like big things. I get shipped to Romania. I have an address there, and then I'll go across the border, pick them up, and bring them in. Right?
What are
obviously?
Big things?
Well, like I mean, anything that's not ITARs, that's like basically really anything. The big thing is what you pay for shipping, right? That's the biggest expense. I mean,
yeah.
You can get a magazine pouch sent over here. The magazine pouch is going to cost you $15, but it's going to cost you $20.
They're so expensive, yeah.
like whatever, right? So
it's funny because I think like the main I believe like the main CEO of North American Rescue was a PJ like me, and that dude is just banking. It's just like making real simple stuff that's just like super expensive.
Yeah. We get our tourniquets from North American, right?
Yeah,
and
those things are crazy expensive. Crazy
expensive. Dude, I know. I mean, yeah, trust me, I know. Like, I mean, it's like one of those things where, like, again, there was an organization here that's folded up now because they overpromised, right? Because they were going, we're going to try to get everybody IFACs. I'm like going, hold on there, dude. Like, where's your funding coming from? Because just the tourniquet's $110, right?
Yeah, so they don't understand how much an IFAC actually is. They just, just a couple Band-Aids, like psychs, like $600, bro.
yeah. Something as simple as like combat gauze, man. Like, I mean, that's expendable. I mean, forget about it, right? So, and so getting resources, I've actually been trying to reach out to, like, if I can get it in Europe, I'll go get it in Europe and get it shipped to Romania, where I have an address of somebody I know where I can. She'll keep it, and then I'll go pick it up with a rucksack or 2 or 3, and walk it across the Romanian border.
May I weigh in for a moment?
Mike, send me your information, please. Connect with me somehow.
Hit me up on Facebook, and I'll send you my signal information.
Yeah, for sure. Because I like to work with you on something. I'm not gonna go over there. I have way too much shit going on here.
Don't worry about it, man.
Which definitely sounds selfish for sure. Don't get me wrong, but I recently got bit by an alligator, and I have my head, like half of my piece of my head, kind of missing. So my wife would kill me if I went to Ukraine right now.
Hey man, yeah.
But yeah, dude, connect with me, because one of the big things with my businesses is I'm a public servant, and I find sponsorships for things that matter. And I think this is kind of potentially one of them. So yeah, dude, cool. I'm looking forward to
like I said, hit me up on Facebook. I'll send you my signal information, and I can tell you, I can go in more depth there on what exactly I've been doing over here.
All right, cool. Yeah, we're already taking over the podcast here, dude. Sorry, Rob.
Oh, it's all good, brother. We enjoy you co-hosting, JC. It's a pleasure.
Straight up stealing it, dude. My bad.
I was trying to come in a few times, but I didn't have the opportunity. Like I said earlier, I have some connections over there. I brought the stuff directly to the vicinity of the border, to Lviv, and over the border with supplies, etc., etc. So if you have any questions regarding contacts to getting it over there or to the vicinity of the border, no problem. I can hook you up.
Awesome.
We used to do that with all kind of medical supplies, wheelchairs, foods, clothes. At the beginning and starts of the conflict, like the beginning of March, we made a few runs over there. We got good contacts with some local organizations that all get the gear and bring it with trucks over the border. Also in Romania, I have good contacts with a club called the Night Ravens. Their president also made a few runs into Ukraine from Romania to help with supplies in the country. So the thing Michael is saying, it's accurate. With the whole conflict, with START, you said like they gave him 4 days training and sent him off to the front. I think they didn't have any other opportunity at the time because they were overwhelmed. And now they are retaking the initiative, and that's a big difference that is going on right now. They are all the Russians are on the right side of the country, and the Ukrainians, they have the knowledge of the terrain, also better organized, and with the support of course, all the weapons that come in from NATO, they are better supplied right now. There's only one thing that I am a bit worried about is that yesterday, I think, Putin annexed the part of the Ukraine that is at the moment occupied.
Donbass? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And he is pronounced that it will be defended like a home country. And that will not exclude the atomic bombs tactics. So that's a bit of... The nuclear threat is becoming a bit bigger. If you're using it, then you will burn up everything, credibility with China, etc., etc. Still, it's a bit of a dangerous situation. It's a rat.
Things are looking up, Mike. Things are looking up.
Well, at least I'll be somewhere where I have a nice view of the fireworks, right?
Yeah,
You know, dude.
Luckily,
Oh man, that's what's up.
Away
Like
from,
I know that
from
most
the
people that
freaking
are
one.
like have nothing to do with the military or that kind of humor. They're like, wait, why are these guys joking? It's like, dude, what can we do right now? That's pretty much it. Like the world is going to hell, or it is, and you can either enjoy the fireworks and know that you're on the right side, or cry about it. So let's not even, you know.
Yeah,
That whole annex is a travesty, though. I mean, there are people, Ukrainians, that said they were being held at gunpoint by Russians to vote
all the time.
That's exactly right. That's exactly like it was a forced annex, right? Like, I mean, it was a forced vote with only one person, one option on the ballot, right? I mean, so like it doesn't even count. And if any country tries to acknowledge that that's a legitimate thing, then they're complicit, right? Yeah. So, I mean, but the hard thing is like both. So like there's several parts of this war that makes it different from the two other conflicts that I fought in, right? Is it the main difference is that there's a distinct front, right? Like if you're not on the front, you don't even know the war's going on. Like with the exception of a few straight rockets here and there, right? But the thing is that, and then on top of that, this is the biggest propaganda war I think I have ever seen. And that's saying something. Like,
weird.
On both sides. Yeah. Why? Right?
So strange. So new. Insane. Are they trying to push an agenda? Are you crazy? What conspiracy theory are you starting, Michael?
Right. And it's so hard because like one part of my job is handling any misinformation that people are spewing about Ukraine, right? And also there's a lot of propaganda inside of Ukraine that people are getting that they don't know that is from the front or otherwise, right? And that's a battle too. So
well,
I mean,
I think that's the main battle, dude. And it actually goes back to kind of what we were talking about before. Is like if you don't have the correct information from the right source, you're just lost, dude. You have no idea where you're going. No clue what you're doing. In a sense, you don't even know who's winning. I bet you some Ukrainian the propaganda can get so bad that some Ukrainians might listen to, hey, Russia's in power now, and they're like, okay, I guess we're Russians now.
Well, that's the thing. Is like a lot of these people, like if you're not in the big cities, right, the bigger cities, you might not have that. You're clueless, right? Exactly. And so it's very. I mean, it's crazy. Like you know, I'm not trying to compare this to like World War II or whatever else or Hitler. Blah,
no,
blah, blah.
you can.
But okay, but like it's But now I understand. Like the big question has always been, how did Hitler get so many people to go along with him, right?
Just like this.
Like this. This is exactly how he did it because it's insane, right? Like,
dude, you know what else is actually insane is that you're in that situation there. But what'll blow your mind is that exact type of propaganda is what's actually being given to us here in America, and what has been for the last, I don't even know how long, but I guess I can count the last 12 years more specifically, because all of a sudden we're kind of told it's like, hey, don't make fun of this person. Hey, that makes you a phobic. Hey, that makes you a hateful racist. Hey, don't do that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a second. I can't speak my mind because I think this person has some mental problems that they need to deal with.
So that kind of that mentality right there, right? So I was actually talking to one of the soldiers here about, you know, like, he asked specifically, is there racism in the military, right? In the United States military. And I was like, well, you know what, dude? I was infantry, so for us, no. Right? There wasn't room for
soldiers.
Right. Like everybody was the same. You like to the sergeant, every private to specialist was a piece of shit. Right?
You are a white piece of shit. You are a black piece of shit. You are an Asian piece of shit. You are a Spanish piece of shit. It doesn't matter. You are one thing. Right. We are humans. We are all one thing. And that's it. Like, it's so silly, dude.
So, I mean, and so there wasn't any room really, because like if this guy doesn't do his job, then everybody dies, right? And so like that's like kind of the thing go now. There might have been problems like that when you get into like support, right? Like cooks and finance and shit. But for the line guys, I never saw it because there wasn't room for it, right?
Because we were too busy fighting. We were too busy actually doing stuff. We were too busy on actually being in the present.
And that's the thing. Like if we weren't actually fighting, we were training to fight, right? There wasn't time in between to worry about that crap. And if you did worry about it, your sergeant took you to the tree line and fixed it, right?
Yeah.
Like so, like it wasn't a problem for long.
It's a perfect analogy to kind of like what we're dealing with kind of here in the civilian world, in where like if things are easy, which we're kind of in America, you know what I mean? We're kind of just chilling. I have perfect internet connection. I'm drinking my hot coffee. I have a computer. I have a bunch of books. If I get bored, I can go ride my bike. Well, I guess I can't ride my bike because I don't have a piece of my skull. But what I'm trying to say is that it's very easy to get complacent. It's super easy. When things are easy, it's super easy to get complacent. Like, I don't know if you read scripture, but like God took the Hebrews out of the tyranny of Egypt into the wilderness. Like he didn't take them to like paradise. It's like, hey, we made it. We're cool. We got out of Egypt. We're awesome. Nah, man, we were in the desert, like actually like figuring out our faith and figuring out like what it is in order to look at a higher power and kind of be structured into the things that need to get done.
I'm glad you're kind of leading into something I was going to try to get to anyway.
Let's go.
To kind of get back on like the whole PTSD thing, right? Is that when I got out of the military, right? The biggest thing for veterans getting out, especially your combat guys, right? Is that you feel for the first time in however long you were in the military, in the combat arms, you're alone, right?
There you go.
You have that sense of abandonment, and you're looking for that team, and then you try to go to the next best thing, right? Your loved ones, right? But then you realize your loved ones don't have your back like your freaking teams did, right?
Right.
Because
or they do.
Or they do, maybe. Like, I don't know. Mine didn't, right? So, anyway.
Fair, yeah.
So then it was, and of course, so, and in the beginning, like, with me, like, I didn't really know a whole lot there. I didn't have a veteran network set up, right? And that for about 3 years, I guess, I really struggled because people can say where they want to about the VA. My personal experience with VA is it sucks, right? And when I went to the VA, they wanted to throw pills at me and whatever, right? And I'm going, I'm not
in the real world though. That's no different than the real world though.
Yeah, like I'm not taking pills because I think there's a problem with that and whatever. Like, talk to you later. So I had to like, and this is where you're talking about like that walk in the wilderness shit, right? Like where I had to struggle to find my own path, right?
Yeah.
And in doing so, I had to be perfectly honest with myself and say, there's a problem, right? Like, and the problem is I feel abandoned.
You hit rock bottom in a sense.
Do what? Right. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. You know, I mean, you have to, right? It's kind of
there's only one place to look up when you're absolutely at the bottom.
Right. I mean, it's like the military does.
You can't look down anymore.
Right. It's like basic training, right? Like your drill sergeants break you down for the first week so they can rebuild you, right? Well, that's the same. That's what life does, right? Life breaks you down so it can rebuild you, right? And to give it a God situation, like God will never give you anything that you can't handle, right? It might suck, right? Like it might really
need
suck.
that suck. You sometimes need that suck in order to be like, oh, hey, I can't do this shit
Because-
by myself.
Yeah. Because it's like those 30-mile ruck marches, right? Like they suck ass, but when they're done, now you have that resiliency, and you know that you survived, so you know you can survive the next hard thing, right? Anyway, I ended up pulling myself out of it. You know, like I was working and whatever else, but I found it, like for me it was getting outdoors, right? And whatever it is, I think there's something about nature that's like healing as shit, right? And
weird, it gets you a little bit more connected. I have a whole philosophy behind that because I run an adventure company, but go ahead.
Yeah, so before the military, I was really into fly fishing, right?
What?
And
you were into what?
I fly fishing.
Oh, fly fishing. Yeah.
Right. So I started fly fishing again, and then I started tying my own flies, right? And it gave my hands and my mind something to do, right? And by getting out there and being active, then I started talking to other veterans that had the same interest, and then we're going to like Oklahoma and going on like excursions, right? Like fly fishing excursions, and we sit around the campfire, swap stories while swapping booze and freaking just hanging out, right? Like the old field, like being in the field all over again.
Yeah.
But
then what happens when you leave that field?
Well, that's the thing. Like you have to stay in contact, right? Everybody goes to their own homes and whatever, but they're always a phone. But those guys that you talk to in that campfire are just a phone call away. And if I'm hanging out at home having a drink, I might just call one up and shoot the shit, right? Like nothing's wrong. I just feel like hanging out, right? And I think there's a big problem of like people calling only when there's something wrong. That's not the point, right?
Yeah.
It's having that constant communication where, that way you don't feel like you're alone. You've got your brother that you can call up and just, bullshit with, or you could call him up and go, hey man, I got a problem. Like, can you listen to me for a second? Right?
Yeah, dude. I actually get kind of angry at some of my friends and where they don't tell me when they have issues. It was like, dude, I'm your friend. I don't just want to hear the good stuff.
Right.
Like, I'm not here just to hear how great your life is. Like, that shit's boring. Like, I get it, dude. Your life is great. Good. You had a good day? Okay, great. How about we talk about the really sad stuff? Again,
that's that military mentality, right? Like, because as an enlisted guy, especially, because an enlisted guy, you always had your brothers around you, and you had your NCO support channel where you're encouraged. Like, anytime you had a problem, you had better go to your team leader and make sure he doesn't find out about it the hard way, because if he does, then you're really getting hemmed up, right? So, and that's that whole mentality of like, hey, you've got your guys, and it's your job to keep them informed of what's good, bad, or indifferent going on in your life, right? Right. And building that support channel outside of the military, right? And that's our responsibility as veterans, right? Like, we take care of our own, right? That's part of our mantra. And I think, and that's where, like, people say, like, there's veteran organizations. There's a shit ton of veteran organizations out there that specifically are set towards pulling guys out of isolation and putting them back into a team environment, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge step towards fighting veteran suicide.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree with you more. I think ultimately this is kind of a conversation that I always have with like my substance abuse dudes, where they need to go to a community, right? They feel that it's easier that way for other humans that deal with their own stuff. But I challenge them. I usually challenge them. I'm like, all right, well, what about if your sponsor all of a sudden dies tomorrow? Or let's say if your sponsor all of a sudden relapses tomorrow. Like, is that going to cost you? Like, it's humans depending on other humans. And the thing is that I'm not even saying that that's bad, because that's progress. That is something good. But the thing is that there's kind of like an ultimate, how do I say it? There's just a better way, dude.
Right.
I don't know
Hey,
how
man,
other way to
so
say
I,
it.
so I'm currently working on a second book, right? Like it's called The Quest for Happiness, right? And there's a whole chapter. There's
A quest?
A quest for happiness.
What does that look like?
It's kind of, you know, whatever. I'm working on it, right? So, but basically, the idea is that happiness starts with you, right? And
Well,
and
what
like
is
so, like
happiness? I guess before
well,
saying like happiness, like what the hell is happiness?
right. It's different for everybody, right? That's something that whatever. I'm not. That's why it's called the quest for happiness. I don't tell you what the hell it is. It's a quest for happiness, right? But basically, I try to build a guide of how to reach your own personal happiness, right? And there's a whole part in there about believe in a higher power. I don't care what that power is, but believing in a higher power ultimately, if nothing else, gives you hope, right?
Sure.
And that hope gives you one more day, right? Like I remember freaking like being in the military, like again those long ass ruck marches. Going, I'm just going to take one more step.
Yeah.
Right. Just one more step. Well, having that belief in that higher power gives you the hope that there's an end. I just can't see it, so I'm going to take one more step. Right. And so yeah, sure.
No, I mean that's that's beautiful. It really is, and it's a great way. Keep searching, dude. I think you're looking for something in Ukraine, and I think you might find it. But and I love to attempt to help you in any way that I can. Thanks for talking to me, dude.
Hell yeah, man.
Awesome.
Sorry to take over like that.
Oh, it's all good, Michael. We enjoy your story, brother.
No, that was great. I mean, I think that's very helpful. A lot of the things that he pointed out, the segue from being in service and then being a private citizen, you know, you get lost, right? Because your environment and your everyday life completely changes. There's no transitional way of doing that. As humans, you know,
Did we lose her connection?
I think so, but I think we're all back.
Are you on Michael's connection?
I don't know. That was crazy, right? But it's valid. What I'm saying is there's no transition. It's like you go from 0 to 100. And we're not designed that way. Humans need routine. We get comfortable in routine through repetition. That's the way we learn, through repetition. So
we need structure.
Yeah, we need structure. We need order. We need role models and mentoring, because we need an example to follow, because that's the number one way you learn. Monkey see, monkey do. That is the truth. That's literally, that's what you do in basic training, right? You go to basic training, you see what everybody else is doing and you copy it. That's in training for anything. You go to a new job, you get on the job training. What is that? You follow somebody and you replicate what they do, right? But when you're in the military and you go back to being a civilian, there's nothing. It's totally, the plug is pulled. And that's
Yeah.
where there's like a vacuum that needs to get filled by guys like you telling your story and sharing, like, this is what worked for me. People need support there. Otherwise they cope in all these different ways. And that's a human instinctual thing. When we're in unfamiliar territory, we're going to find a way to cope. We're either going to drink, we're going to eat too much, we're going to do something to soothe ourselves and make ourselves feel better. And chances are it's going to be in an unhealthy way first, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll add something to that, because those are all really great points, is that we tend to look up to somebody, a human, whatever, a higher ranking individual, in the veteran.
An old crusty first sergeant. Yeah.
and then we quickly realized that the first sergeant, either in the military or in a church or in an organization, your boss, your CEO, then you end up finding out that this dude has been beating his wife for the last 10 years and has been drinking and destroying whatever. And you're like, wait, dude, I trusted this guy. It's like, wait a second. He was a terrible person this whole time. It's like, so that type of thing has shaken the faith of all of us, of everybody, has shaken, because we deal with humans and we kind of put them on a pedestal. As soon as they mess up, you kind of question your entire belief structure. And I think that's kind of why a lot of people have gone away from spirituality in the first place, because they align a human to the spirit, and it's messy.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna kind of like add to that. Like, I think the big problem is that.
Junner, we appreciate you coming on today with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to check off. I'm still recovering from COVID, so I'm not quite there yet. So I'm going to rest a little bit because I'm getting a bit windy and a bit exhausted. So thanks for having me on the show.
I feel you, man. I like the beard. I've been working on it, but my wife doesn't like it, so I've been cutting it. I'm living through you, bro.
Thanks. I'm luckily that my wife is having it. Liking it also. Hey guys and girl, thank you for the story. It was quite motivating to hear what you guys are doing and keeping up the good fights. And hope to meet one another again sometime.
Awesome, Junner. Yeah, pleasure, man. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you for sharing. Nice to meet you. Feel better.
Yeah, we'll try to. Yeah, absolutely, brother. Hey guys, are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, what's up, Red Fox?
Hey.
You got the screen, brother. You're
Well, the most important thing that I can say about this is that just be there for your fellow human. Just I've sat there, I've listened to somebody who was on the edge. I sat with him for about 10 hours one day to talk him away from he was honestly about to kill himself, and just be there for people. I mean, we have our own problems, but we can always try to help somebody else, no matter how it helps. Different people, different ways. You know, some look to religion, some look to their fellow brothers around them. But just being there. I mean, even if you cannot offer any help at all, just being there may just be what that person needs.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man.
Amen.
absolutely.
I've gone through a fair amount of people that have committed suicide around me, whether it's my job or not. Like, I've gone to I mean, I've gone to literally like men that leave notes, and when their garage door opens, the family sees them hanging from that, or from drownings, like self-drowning. I've seen a lot. In the military, not so much. In the military, because I always dealt with kind of like, I guess what you would call special warfare operators. And it was very rare to hear any of those dudes actually, well, they died from like jumping or diving, but never that suicide. But it's, I have not had the privilege, like, well, I don't even know if I would say privilege, Red Fox, or Fox, or sorry, I don't know what to call you, Mr. Fox,
It's all good.
to actually have the ability to talk to somebody for that long. That must have been spiritually draining. I don't know what that looks like when you talk to somebody for that long.
We sat at a Waffle House and just talked. That's it. He just wanted somebody to talk to. He didn't have anybody. Didn't feel comfortable talking to a lot of people. Approached me at work, and we left work and just went straight to the Waffle House and hashed things out. And I mean, he's still alive today, and that's been 10 years ago, at least.
Man, that's amazing.
When we had that conversation. And I've had an incident that occurred, I think it was early 2000s, 2001 or 2000, where myself and a few other people found out before his parents did. You know, we didn't have any idea.
So how'd you do it? Like, I'm curious, man, and I'm sorry that I'm so blunt with my questions, dude. I'm sorry, but I guess I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, right? And God forbid I have to be there for somebody in that sense. I like to think that I'm ready, but I mean, since you've done it firsthand, like, what are some things that you were able to tell him that was, or her, to kind of literally have the ability to not, I guess, allow them to jump off the ledge? I don't know how they were trying to do it, but.
Yeah, it was a guy. And honestly, I mean, you don't know until you're put in that situation to be able to, what you can say to try to bring him back. I mean, you don't know. I mean, everybody's different.
Right.
You know, with the guy that happened 20 something years ago, again, he had a family, had kids, had everything going for him, had a business. I was selling items at his shop down there, and none of us had any idea what was going on. It's some people just, again, are more, they're asking for help. Whether it's a small hint or a note or something like that.
Yeah.
These people are asking, and some people just keep it bottled up and keep it shelled in and just can't handle it anymore. I've dealt with trauma, major trauma, since I was an infant. I witnessed my mother, she died right in front of me when I was 3 years old. So I've got that PTSD. I've dealt with this through the proper channels, through the network of healthcare, to be able to cope and deal with it. And it does get brought back. I'm not a good person with death. I can't deal with it in the same sense. I don't like going to funerals. I will not go to funerals for the most part. It's, you know, it's a one-on-one basis. You have to be who you are, you know, and at least somewhat collective to be able to even attempt to go out there and do that and not take it in on yourself. It's difficult.
Oh yeah, dude, it sounds like it. Yeah. For sure. Kudos for you, man. That's amazing that you were able to help that individual.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's a weird thing to say, but congratulations. Because it's awesome. You were that person's hero.
Yeah, I'm that type of person. I'll run out there. It was an accident at work a couple of days ago where a car wreck. I was on there before police were even there. There was a car fire a couple of days before. Stuff like that doesn't bother me. You know, again, I just take it and emotionalize it to myself, and I use my own vices and routines to be able to, I guess, escape from it for a little while. And it does compound in, but
yeah,
we all have our own dents and vices. So some go to alcohol, some go to drugs, some go to religion, some go to, again, recreational sports and what have you. For me, it's hopping on the bike and going out on a 1,000-mile ride. It's walking in the woods. It's talking to somebody else. It's so many different venues. Nobody's ever alone here in this situation. There's always somebody you can always reach out to.
Yeah, you're getting further away from the constant feet of darkness, which is kind of what we talked about, right? That's exactly what kind of adventure is, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're kind of getting away to your own space, away from technology, away from marketing, away from your job, away from whatever it is, either your family maybe is kind of bringing you like that extra stress or whatever. So you're getting away with that and in a sense coming closer to your higher power, right?
Yeah, no matter what that could be,
right?
But yeah.
And the thing is that whether you realize it or not, you are doing that.
Oh yeah.
But I guess like there's an ultimate way to kind of figure that out at the very end where you don't have to go and do that. Well, the thing is that you really wouldn't even want to. Like, I'm a pretty adventurous dude, man. I run, like I said before, I run an adventure company, and I do endurance sports. Anything that has triathlon, like I'll show you. I have a bunch of medals, and I run a cycling team and a triathlon team, and then we do adventures all around the nation, all around the country. And in a sense, it's about that, is to get kind of closer to God. And whether you like to call it God or not, whatever, but you feel it. You just don't want to call it anything. And that's kind of okay with me. I'm not here to point any finger or do anything. Your life is your life and my life is my life, you know? And I think for the longest time, there's been kind of like this, this need to kind of like tell you that you're not doing it the right way. And it's like, who am I to tell you you're doing it the right way, man? Just like,
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, JT. Yeah.
For sure. I just wish I had a little bit more more capabilities right now. The side of my head still not placed back in. The small little dinosaur took a piece of my head. So I got.
Well, it made you better looking.
What's that? What did you say?
It made you better looking.
Ooh, touche, sir. Touche. That's actually false. That's actually false. Actually, just a couple of weeks ago, I actually was unable to move my entire right side of my face because the lacerations cut deep into my facial nerves. So it actually looked like I had a deficit, like as if I had a stroke, because this whole side just wasn't functioning.
Yeah, well, I don't understand. I don't understand what your excuse was before the alligator.
What the attractiveness? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I wasn't gifted like you, dog. You know
I know, man. It's hard life.
It's a hard life, dude. I bet all the Ukrainian women are just going crazy over you, bro.
Yeah, it's the gray beard, dude. You know, whatever. So.
You're literally their Captain America.
Yeah, not really, but okay.
Yeah. Well, you're my Captain America, currently located in the Ukraine.
Right on. Hey, yeah. I'll try to use that to keep me warm when winter hits.
Oh, good. Yeah, keep that. Keep that. Dude. I'll send you a shirt. Yeah, man. So with the alligator situation, it was actually really cool. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I escaped something that I really shouldn't have escaped. There's no reason for that to happen, to like just the natural nature of a 12-foot or whatever foot size reptile to go after somebody. I was literally technically behind enemy lines. the enemy lines were instead of Russia, it was this large reptile's territory, and I just kind of just shoved my way in there, dude. That's funny you're showing that picture because that's a teammate of mine. As this large reptile was kind of like in my head while I was inside it, I just kind of only knew one thing, and it was just kind of getting out of there. Yeah, actually, much like you, Michael, through these experiences and through perspective, I'm actually writing something about it. Just because I've been kind of contacted by some public speaking industries, and instead of just speaking to a bunch of people, which I kind of hate doing, even though this is what I'm doing right now, I'm going to send people to my book. And my book is not so much about the attack, because the attack was short and kind of irrelevant to all of the perspectives and the lessons that I learned. But I'm sure you're learning a lot of lessons over there in where you're at, Mike. And the same with you, Red Fox, and Angel, you as well. I mean, you're kind of dealing with all of these very broken humans who outside seem like they are superheroes in a sense, right? They're kind of like getting their costumes on and they're kicking ass, and then all of a sudden behind closed doors they're broken humans just like the rest of everybody. So it's you guys are also all have really beautiful stories, and thank you for sharing them.
Thank you. I think it's the most important thing that I do in my life is taking whatever my experience is and sharing that wisdom with and giving understanding to other people so that they can have hope. Because the truth is that life is worth fighting for. It is worth enduring whatever the darkness is, because it's only temporary. And the one thing that I can tell you with absolute certainty is that your life is going to change. It's that is the one constant with life, is that life is always changing.
One way or another, yeah.
Yeah. So evolve, be willing to be transformed, but don't allow it to overtake you.
So so on that, like the book that I actually have out available for pre-sale now, right, is that I was trying to talk about earlier, but whatever. It's called Life's Memorable Moments, right? Life's Memorable Moments. And it's volume 1. And the idea is, like, I wrote it because when we look at life, right, like and we look at all the bad stuff that happens, it only makes up 1%, right? But because it sucked, we remember it more, right? But if we change our perspective around, instead of thinking about the bad shit that happened and start trying to remember all the good things that happened and all the fun things that happened, then we realize that it's only 1%, right? And and so the book Life's Memorable Moments is a collection, like 10 short stories before the military, none of it's military related or combat or anything, right? It's just funny stories of things that happened to me when I was working as a construction worker from about the age of 19 to 24, right? And as you read these stories, as they were happening, they sucked, right? Like, they were awful, but I lived through them, and now they're funny as hell, right? So it's all a matter of perspective, right? You getting through it and then being able to look back on it. A lot of times you'll realize, well, the reason why that happened is because I was stupid, right? So, I mean, it's looking at life from a different perspective, right? So, not focusing on the bad, but focusing on the good.
Yeah. Well, I guess that gets challenging when people, instead of that 1 or 10%, they consider it to be 99%. Then that becomes a little bit more challenging. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's beautiful that you're talking about perspective, because that's literally what the rock bottom has to bring. It has to provide some type of perspective. It's like, wait, what? This is happening to me. It's like, how am I looking at this? So you have to look at it from a different perspective. I don't think there's any other way. So you kind of have to look at it from a different perspective. And it's funny going back to the military thing, because I describe my military experience as a PJ in the Air Force as the best time that I never want to have again.
Yes, it's the best, worst time of my life, right?
Totally. Yeah, 100%. It's like, no, never do that again. However, 100% I loved 99% of it, 90% of it maybe. Just like anything, because there's some leadership stuff that is kind of like, oh
yeah,
my God, like, you are a moron. But that's life, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Well, appreciate everybody sharing. It really means a lot for you guys to take your time and come on here. And JC, man, I'd like for you to come back on again, man. Maybe we can get you back on in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. I knew that this could have gone two ways. Either I was going to get asked a lot of questions about the large dinosaur or the small dinosaur situation, which I would be gladly to say, but I knew that it was more like a suicide prevention thing. And any kind of different perspective that I can bring into it, it's not going to be from a very dark place, because I'm a pretty light-filled dude. So I'm just gonna bring, much like Michael, he's in a pretty shitty situation right now. You know what I mean? He's literally in, we'll go ahead and quotation mark World War III, but we won't say it, Mike. We won't say it. We won't say it, dog. But we're gonna go ahead and bring light into it. You know what I mean? And I kind of like the one thing that we can do is kind of be graceful and thankful despite our inevitable suffering. And I think with that amount of gratitude and that amount of light, you'll be amazed on the stuff that you can do. Yeah, man, thank you so much for having me, and thank you guys all for sharing. Red Fox, it was a pleasure hearing from you.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, Red Fox, maybe jump back on with us here in a couple of weeks. We'll get you scheduled on again if you got time.
Yeah, just let me know and I can see what I can do with work.
All right, brother. Yeah, absolutely. Angel, what's up with you? Are you down for another ride with us?
I would be honored to. Yes, absolutely. Anytime I can kick some darkness ass, I'm down for it. Let me shine that light.
All right. Well,
thank you.
If anybody has any last final words before we shut it down, feel free to. If not, then we can say a little prayer and then close out.
Go on, Rob.
Okay, dear Father, we come to you and we just ask you to keep us humble, God, and give us patience and God, just show us the light. Give us our direction in life, because I know we walk lost and weary and God, just keep us from being sick and God, protect us throughout our days and nights. Protect our friends and our family, our loved ones. And God, I know that we try and sometimes we don't try hard enough, but God, just be with us and help the ones that do try. And God, we just ask you to be there for everybody and continue doing the works in our lives and continue to keep the word in our lives and continue to keep us faithful and diligent in your word. Amen.
In Jesus' name,
amen. In Jesus' name, amen. There you go. All right, guys. See
Cool.
you guys. Hey, Mike, hit me
Yeah.
up. I don't deal with a lot of social media, man. I suck at it. But JC Defeats on Facebook, and then we get connected because, dude, in general, I just like to hear more about it. All right, brother. Take it easy. Bye.
No problem. All right, bye.
All right.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Bye, Angela.